Hello and welcome to the Merle and Locke podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Locke.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by a healthy, albeit shameful, help with pointless banter, lack of focus, and questionably acquired knowledge.
And more.
And more. Getting back into WoW again, surprisingly enough.
Wow, how crazy. Never thought we'd see that day.
Okay, there is going to be some spoilers ahead. If you have any interest in playing the new War Within expansion, maybe tune out for this one. We're going to actually go into the second area of that expansion, which is the Ringing Deeps. All right, you've been warned. Okay, here we go. So what happens is after we finish up in Dornegal and
Isle Adorn.
that's right. We go underground for a little visit to the machine speakers. Following Speaker Brinth, she has some concerns while it's finally opened up, and we're going to see, what's the haps down in the Ringing Deeps? What's happening with this awakening machine that we keep hearing so much about, and how do we fix it? That's the question we're presented with.
Why it no work?
Yes, why it no work? If you don't know what the awakening machine is, essentially what I'm getting from it is that earthen, they only have like so long of a life cycle, right? I know they're like made out of stone and you would think like, oh, these guys will live forever. But no, they have a charge, they have a battery, and eventually they run out of power. Like what I'm thinking it is, I don't think new earthen are made. I mean, they might be. But the way it seems is that there's only a finite amount of earthen, and once they run out of charge, their memory chips are taken into this archive and uploaded. So their memory is wiped from that body, and that body is put into the awakening machine where those bodies are recharged, and it's a brand new earthen. Like it's the same person, but no more memories. All the memories are in the archives, and now it's a new earthen, basically. So that whole process it's held together by these edicts, these rules that the earthen have made for themselves, in which they have to adhere to. But while we're doing the Isle of Dorn, we find out that there are some earthen that kind of stepped away from the edicts. They're like, no, we don't want to live by the edicts. We want to do our own thing. And these earthen, they kind of like want a deciding factor on like how they pass.
How they get to live their life. They don't want to be stuck to what any official is telling them that they need to do.
Right. They want to choose like how they die, which you find out like in the Isle of Dorn, like you'll see these pretty much earthen corpses all over the place, which I mean they look like statues because they're made of stone, but they're earthen that have run out of power and they're stuck there wherever they landed. And the way they see it, it seems wrong. They don't want to give up their memories, right? They don't want their memory wiped, then their corpse being used just to further whatever these edicts are.
That's not even just it either. It's since the machine no longer works, so they're not able to be reincarnated, as it were. So they don't want to just pass and just become a statue in a graveyard, essentially.
Right. And they don't want their memory chips taken and uploaded to the archive as well. Well, at least for the Unbound. Now, the other earthen that still live by the edicts, they still become statues as well because the awakened machine isn't working, but their memories are all uploaded to the archive. We did come across like a rather sad story in the Isle of Dorn. This caretaker, Kagran, he was like, towards the end of his days, and he had someone that was going to take the mantle of caretaker for all these unbound earthen that have passed and like taken care of pretty much the graveyard. He would care for them and make sure all their statues were cleaned and all their, trinkets and whatnot that they passed with, like everything was up to par. And he was reaching the end of his days, and like I don't really want to spoil this one because it's a really good story. It's kind of touching.
It's very heartfelt.
So we basically get a pretty good idea of how the earthen die. We know we want to try and fix this awakening machine for the earthen because we've experienced like all these earthen coming to the end of their days, and we want to help them out. right? They got us. They got us on the hook. And we're like, okay, we'll help out however we can. So we get down there to the Ringing Deeps, and we're met by the high speaker of the machine speakers, right? High speaker Eirik. And this guy's pretty hilarious, from the get go.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a bit like over the top and thinks rather fondly of himself, and it's kind of funny to see. We don't know exactly what this guy is up to, but we know he's up to no good. He's a very shady character. We know his goal is to fix the awakening machine, but we're not entirely certain as to how he's doing it. But he has a secret plan. We're then met by Moira Thorson and her son Dagrin, and Moira's father, Magni, are all meeting us down there, and we're all trying to figure out what exactly is going on and how we can help. We're trying to help out Speaker Brinth as well, because, she sees that some shady things are going on, and she's not too fond of the High Speaker.
He basically shunned her and said, "Get out of here, you're exiled, I don't want to see your face around here no more."
And Speaker Brinth does warn us as to, some of the loyalties to the High Speaker that some of these people has, like some people are corrupted by him and
politics. Oh.
Politics. So we're digging into this, right? And we're starting to wrap our heads around it, helping out as much as we can. We start seeing more and more red flags coming up from the High Speaker. And then we find out something that's kind of troubling. The capital city in Gundergaz is pretty much the hub of where we're trying to operate from. And we find this place in the Ringing Deeps called Taillock. And when we get there, it's like a ghost town. What is happening here? What is the High Speaker up to? And we start hearing some weird noises going on, and everything's all foggy and dark and creepy. Eventually we run into these creatures. Well, they're earthen, but they're corrupted.
Tainted by the darkness, the void.
Yeah, the void. So they're corrupted by the void. The name they have for them is Skarden. They don't seem to have their original memories. They're reawakened earthen, but they're corrupt and dangerous. Naturally, those guys, they try to kill us. We're actually hanging out with Magni and Dagrin at the time, so we have to fight them off. And now we know the High Speaker is definitely up to no good.
What? No, it's fine.
These Skarden are up and about, causing terror within the Ringing Deeps, and we need to figure out how to fix this, and we need to stop the High Speaker. So we venture off to the Awakening Machine to see what the hell is going on. We then find the High Speaker, Eric. I think it's within the dungeon, right, where we finally find him?
Yeah, it's that final dungeon that we did. So the final dungeon, by the time that we finally got to Eirik, he's there using some void energy to mess with the Awakening Machine, and he plans on bringing a bunch of people back as Skarden. So there you got void energy flying all over the place. After we're done fighting Eirik, Magni has one last message from our world soul, Azeroth. So he gets one last message, says, "It's time." All of a sudden you see, it's a lot like the Azerite that we've seen in BFA, so you see all this magic flying out of Magni that just obliterates the void. There's no void left. not in the room anyway. So all of these bodies that are just spread all over this archive are now shimmering in this Azeroth magic, and Magni goes cold. Rock cold.
When we came upon High Speaker Eirik, he was brokering a deal with Xal'atath. Remember Xal'atath from a couple episodes prior here?
We can fix her.
We can fix her. Her and High Speaker Eirik were making a deal, and he wanted to, more than anything, he wanted to finally fix the Awakening Machine, because the Awakening Machine can only operate with Titan magic, but the magic had run out, and they weren't able to get any more magic to reactivate the machine. The High Speaker, he was confronted by Xal'atath, and she told him, "I can reactivate the machine, but we're going to do it my way. My way or the highway sort of deal. And High Speaker, absolutely desperate, he's like, go for it. That's why the void energies are reawakening all these earthen that are in stasis in the machine with void energy and turning them into discarded. After we defeat High Speaker, Magni is presented by that vision where Azeroth finally tells him, now's the time. As if this has been, in the works for a while. We get that idea from it, and he steps forward to be the hero of the day. And yes, he releases that energy that he was given by Azeroth, and yes, he becomes a statue himself. And it's at this point
that we're losing our shit.
Both me and Locke here, we're sitting there like, Magni, no! Like, how could you do this?
There was not a dry eye in the Discord, I'll tell you what. Because I feel like we were both holding on, going, bunch of bubble blowing babies, Jesus.
Yeah, and after that happens, like, Dagger and Moira both look at Magni and
tears come out of Moira's eyes.
But then he loses his stone form and once again is presented with the curse of flesh. And becomes just a normal dwarf again. And we're all absolutely ecstatic again. We're like, oh, we got the old Magni back.
Thank God.
Not exactly. Not exactly the old Magni, but,
no.
The new, more emotionally intelligent Magni. And throughout the Ringing Deeps, where we know how Magni used to be, he was always kind of a hard ass. But over, like, all this, everything that's happened, he's softened up. He's starting to work on his relationship with Dagger and his grandson. Things are looking great for Magni. But yeah, when that happens, when he turns into a statue, we were so distraught about it. But he's back to normal again. He's a normal dwarf once again.
You know what? I know what it reminds me of now. It reminds me of that Pokemon movie back in the day, where they were fighting up against Mewtwo, Ash Ketchum gets turned into stone, and then everyone all over the stadium is crying, and then Pikachu's crying over Ash's stone cold body, and then it goes, all the tears from the Pokemon just bring him back to life, and then all is right in the world again. I knew that there was some reference there.
After this, and everything is right in the world again, the awakening machine is reactivated, and from that magic that came from Magni's form, which, ultimately came from the Titan Azeroth, it reactivated the machine properly. So that Titan magic that the machine needed actually came from Azeroth herself. And so the machine's reactivated, an earthen comes down that's a reawakened earthen, asking, like, who am I? We know the machine is right again. Okay, so it's able to reawaken these earthen that have been in stasis for I don't know how long, like since the Sundering, I think, when the last earthen were made.
Yeah, something like the Sundering.
Naturally, we know, this is why we can have we have the new race, right, that we can choose from to create characters. We're like, because earthen are being reborn again. So we have that knowledge as to how we're able to choose that new race.
Now they're all walking around, what is my purpose?
Yeah, exactly. But they're not, like, exactly bound by edicts anymore, I suppose, most of them. After that, we meet up with Moira and Magni. Magni had lost his hammer, the Fear Breaker. And we're presented with this series of quests to find Fear Breaker, which he had lost in the Ringing Deeps. And after we finally find it, we go back to Gundergaz with Moira and Magni. And Magni tells Moira, it's yours. Keep Fearbreaker. This was a treasured possession of Magni. It was something that was passed down through the Bronzebeard family for generations. And he's kind of passing the torch onto Moira. We know how Moira and Magni's relationship, we know it's a little shaky because of things that happened back in Vanilla WoW. Moira was kidnapped by Emperor Thurasan, and Magni sends us to go kill him, not knowing that Moira had fallen in love with the Emperor and married him. She's resented him for that, of course. Also for, other things that I know it's covered in some lore, like some books. I can't remember the name of the book, which kind of goes into that story, but Magni loved Moira, obviously, but he wasn't a very attentive father. He wasn't really there for her, especially after Moira's mother died. He kind of focused more on the kingdom.
He was a king, so he really had to worry about those kingly duties.
He didn't fuss over as much as being a father, but now is his time, and he's showing to Moira, I'm ready to become a family man again, and he wants to be there for Dagran because he knew he was absent for Moira, but he wants to make amends for all this. And it's still at a shaky point where Moira's like, I still can't forgive you for this, that, and the other, but it makes me hopeful that you're being there for your grandson.
Yeah, you're trying.
Helping to protect him. Yeah, he's trying his best to make amends. And it's a beautiful story. Like I really enjoyed that story, and having Magni back to normal is really neat. And I love that him and Moira are making amends, and I'm interested to see what comes of that, and what comes of Dagran, what role he ultimately, what he does exactly. I don't know. I know he's kind of a nerd and looking into like the histories and whatnot of Azeroth, but seeing everything with the Earthen happening and the Awakening Machine is back in full effect now that we know that the Earthen are going to play a bigger role in Azeroth now. Because this Awakening Machine is reactivated. I'm excited to see everything that's born from that. It's been quite the little adventure going through this second zone, and I'm excited to see what happens next.
I'll tell you what I'm interested in. I'm ready to make my Earthen character. I still don't know what I'm gonna make.
But me neither.
I'm ready.
We just have to beat the game, and then we can do it.
That's all we have to do. And I am also ready to see where this new kobold relationship goes. Maybe
I didn't even mention the kobolds.
I know. Yeah. I mean, possible kobold friendship, maybe playable character in future.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. One can hope.
One can hope.
No, take candle.
Ooh, someone pick me. Thank you for joining us on the Merle and Locke podcast. If you enjoyed this banter, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Merle and Locke, or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.